the topic transpiration for ICSE 10th. We'll first study the definition. It is the loss of water in the form of water vapor from the aerial parts of a plant. Let us see the kinds of transpiration. Transpiration is of three kinds. First, stomatal transpiration. Second, lenticular transpiration. And third, cuticular transpiration. Stomatal transpiration is done through stomata. Lenticular transpiration is done through lenticels, and cuticular transpiration is done through cuticle. Stomatal transpiration is done by stomata, which is abundantly found in the entire plant body, while lenticular transpiration is done by lenticels, which is found only in the bark of old stems. Cuticular transpiration is done by cuticle, which is present on the surface of leaves and stem. They contribute, lenticular and cuticular transpiration contribute very little, and stomatal transpiration contributes the maximum to transpiration. This is the structure of stomata. Stomata are small pores found in the large numbers in the epidermis of the plant. This opening is the stomata, which is guarded by the guard cells. There are two guard cells you can see, and these are kidney shaped, and each stoma is surrounded by guard cells for opening, for exchange of gases as well as for transpiration. That means the function of stomata is not only transpiration, but it also helps in exchange of gases. As many as 1000 to 10,000 stomata may be found in per centimeter square of leaf. They are found more in the lower epidermis of leaf rather than the upper epidermis in a dicot plant. We know there are two kinds of plants, monocot plant and dicot plant. In a dicot plant, the upper epidermis of the leaf has lesser stomata rather than a lower epidermis, so that they can prevent the loss of water from the plant. This stoma is open, which is during the daytime, and this is the inner wall of the guard cell, and this is the outer wall of the guard cell. Since we are calling it as a cell, we see that this is the nucleus, which is surrounded by cytoplasm, and there are many chloroplasts. These chloroplasts help in photosynthesis, and this is a general view of many stomata found in the lower epidermis of a plant. Mechanism of opening and closing of stomata. Transpiration depends upon the opening or closing of stomata. This is an open stomata and this is the closed stomata. If they are open, transpiration occurs. If they are closed, transpiration stops. The opening and closing of stomata is regulated by the amount of water and solutes present in the guard cell. During the daytime, the stomata remains open for the exchange of gases for photosynthesis and respiration. Photosynthesis produces sugar in the guard cells. These are the guard cells where there are chloroplasts which are abundant in number, and they photosynthesize. While they are photosynthesizing, they are producing sugar which makes the cell sap concentrated. That is, it becomes hypertonic in comparison to the adjacent cells. These are the adjacent cells, which are also called as subsidiary cells. As a result, the guard cells absorb water by end osmosis. The concentration is high over here, and therefore water is absorbed, and this process is called as end osmosis. Due to end osmosis, the guard cells swell. The outer wall get arched outside, and consequently the inner walls also open, causing the stomatal pore to widen and allowing the respiration, that is exchange of gases, to take place, and also transpiration. While the stomata is closed during the night time, the stomata is closed, or the stomatal opening is closed, because there is no photosynthesis during the night time. The sugar production stops, making the cell sap of guard cells hypotonic. Hypotonic means less in concentration as comparison to the subsidiary or adjacent cells. The surrounding cells become high in concentration, and thus the guard cells become flaccid because the water is lost from the guard cells to the subsidiary cells, and thus the walls collapse, the outer wall collapse, and also the inner walls collapse, and therefore the stomatal opening also closes. In some plants like balsam, the leaves wilt during the daytime in spite of the availability of sufficient water. In this case, the transpiration exceeds the absorption of water by the roots, but by evening they regain their turgidity as stomata are constricted and the temperature is not high. When transpiration exceeds the rate of absorption, the wilting takes place. This is a wilted plant and this is a normal turgid plant. When a plant has drooping leaves and stem, it is said to be wilting. This is caused when the transpiration level is very high. In other words, water output is greater than the water input. The plants reduce the risk of wilting by closing the stomata. This is a normal turgid plant where the rate of absorption and the rate of transpiration is normal. This is the diagram of the VS of leaf. It shows the section of a leaf, and water continuously is absorbed by the roots from the soil. The roots causes ascent of sap, and this is the xylem vessel which moves up, and this is the section of a leaf. These are the cells which constitute the spongy mesophyll, and this is the lower epidermis, and this shows the stomata. When the water is ascending up by the ascent of sap, the water is absorbed to these cells. It reaches the xylem vessels first and ultimately reaches the tissue of the leaves through veins. Each stomata opens into a small substomatal air chamber which is lined by the spongy mesophyll cells. The water reaches over here and evaporates from the wall of these spongy mesophyll cells. Spongy means there are air spaces in between these cells, and therefore the water converts into water vapor, and from this substomatal chamber it escapes through the open stomata outside. The amount of water lost is replaced again by the regular supply of water made by the xylem vessels in the leaf. The loss of water by thousands of cells is replaced by the water which is absorbed by the roots. This is how continuously the water is lost from this place, and again the water has to be absorbed. Therefore, it is called as a necessary evil. Transpiration is a necessary evil because the loss of water by transpiration only causes the water to ascend up. Therefore, this is an mere expenditure of energy due to which the water is lost here, and again water has to be absorbed by the xylem vessels through roots. Most of the time we know that the loss of water from a general surface is called as evaporation. But in this chapter we are studying about transpiration. Let us see certain differences between evaporation and transpiration. Evaporation is loss of water from any surface. It can be living or non-living, but it is also in the form of water vapor. Transpiration is loss of water from the aerial parts of plants. Plants are living organisms, and from their general surface, if the transpiration is taking place, then it is called as transpiration. Evaporation is a physical change. It is a physical process which is controlled by atmospheric conditions, and also the transpiration is a physical process, but it is a vital process. Just now we have understood that it is a necessary evil, and it is controlled by certain factors which are prevalent inside the body as well as outside the body of the plant. Evaporation is a comparatively faster process, and transpiration is a slow process. So these are certain differences that we know between evaporation and transpiration.